All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Corner Kick. I'm Alex Fidrashevsky. We'll be with you for the next 55 minutes to take you around the world of soccer here on Three Rivers Broadcasting. Visit us online, www.threeriversbroadcasting.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And just look for us there again, Three Rivers Broadcasting. Visit us online, www.threeriversbroadcasting.com. Each and every Monday, we take you around the world of soccer in 60 minutes. Focusing mainly on things related to the U.S., but we'll touch on some things from around the world. And obviously, we always like to start off with what's gone on with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, so we always talk about that. But before we get to that, I would like to thank our new title sponsor here for Corner Kick. We'd like to thank the Polish Falcons of America for their support of Three Rivers Broadcasting, upholding Polish values by promoting financial security, active lifestyles, and social well-being. Visit them online, polishfalcons.org, or better yet, give them a call, 1-800-535-2071. We'll be getting some branding from the Polish Falcons as well here. We've got a meeting coming up on Wednesday, and we're going to get all the ads and all of the new branding for them, and we're very, very excited. We were up at the Polish Falcons golf tournament in Erie. That was a wonderful, wonderful time. We really enjoyed it. Some great people up there, not just Tim and his staff at the office, but we got to meet people from the different nests all over the country. Really had a fantastic time up there for a couple of days in Erie. Weather didn't cooperate on the golf end of it, but it did on the rest of it. Beautiful sunset up there in Erie. When we were there on Thursday night, everybody was down on the waterfront after after the event was over, and really just absolutely spectacular evening there in Erie, Pennsylvania. Great city, by the way. If you've never been up there, they got an NPS. They got an NPSL team, the Erie Admirals, I believe. They're still playing, so you could go catch some soccer up there in the summer. But Presque Isle, beautiful place, and lots of nice places to stay, restaurants, things down on the waterfront anymore. Obviously, the mills and the factories and the railroads and all of that are gone, like unfortunately so many places in the country. But they are revitalizing Erie very, very nicely, especially down on the waterfront there. Some beautiful hotels. So I strongly suggest it. Go check out Erie, Pennsylvania. Again, we were up there with the Polish Falcons, our fine sponsors at Three Rivers Broadcasting. And remember, we have other sports programming on Wednesday nights. Before we get into our soccer talk here on Wednesday nights, we have the Pittsburgh Sports Report that comes your way at 7 o'clock. Myself, Coach Krzyzewski, just the two of us now. Elijah's back at Robert Morris. They're getting into football season. Jordan's back down at school as well at Point Park, so it's just Coach K and I now. A&A, Andy and Alex hanging out on a Wednesday night, taking you all around the Pittsburgh sports scene, and we've got a great guest coming up this week as well, so you won't want to miss that program. Trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do for Pittsburgh City League as well. We know we got a game on Friday, that's for sure. Westinghouse, Kirtland. There's some reports that we're trying to work with the City League right now just to get final confirmation, because some places are saying Thursday's game is here, Perry, Uniontown. Some of them are saying it's in Uniontown. We're trying to get final confirmation from them, so we'll let you know about Thursday, but we're definitely going to be down at Couple Stadium on Friday. 7 o'clock kickoff for Kirtland and Westinghouse. I'll be there. 6:45 will be our pregame program, just about 10-15 minutes. Thanks some of our sponsors, introduce you to the broadcast, go over a little bit of previous results from these teams, and then we'll start to get into that contest on Friday. As soon as that's over on Three Rivers Broadcasting, it's going to be a wild evening. You're going to want to stay on Three Rivers Broadcasting and come back up to the studio, because we will have the Friday Football Scoreboard Show, the Pigskin Report, the pre-show at 9:45 with Coach K, as he starts to talk a little bit about what happened last week, go over some of our rankings coming into this week, talk about who won, who lost, and then at 10 o'clock, the actual scoreboard show begins. It's to give Jordan and I a little bit of time to get back from Couple Stadium, so we're going to be a lot of driving downtown, south side, up here, back down to, it's going to be a wild Friday night, but we're looking forward to it. And then tentatively scheduled, we're waiting on confirmation on that one as well. Saturday, we will be doing Carrick Madonna at 5 o'clock. Madonna, tiny little Catholic school, nice little place there in Weirton, West Virginia, coming down to play Carrick as they try to resuscitate that program, which finished the season with only about a dozen kids last year. But we're very, very proud to be a part of the City League. Very thankful to have the Polish Falcons on board as a sponsor. We'd also like to thank one of our other title sponsors here, Mother of Mercy Academy, for over 70 years, providing a faith-based Catholic education in the South Hills. Love of God, love of neighbor, love of learning, for faith, for family, for life. And experts say that the most important time in a young child's life is elementary school. And I'll tell you, everybody that works with us here at Three Rivers Broadcasting went to Catholic school. And at least through 8th grade, most of us went through high school, some even through college. So I think that we are all proof of the type of person you become. And yes, a lot of it's family orientated, but when you get a Catholic education at a place like a Mother of Mercy Academy, it goes a really long way. And all of us, again, we all went to Catholic school, every single one of us, from myself all the way down through Elijah and Jordan and Andy, everybody on our team, everybody you see on our website, all of us went to, and we didn't know this, it just kind of ended up that way, that we were all Catholic school folks, and we're all, I think, better people for it. So please support Don, Principal Don Militzer, Diocese of Pittsburgh. We love having them on as an advertiser. Mother of Mercy Academy. Check them out, motherofmercyacademy.org. If you live in the South Hills, one of the finest traditions of Catholic education for elementary schools in the entire Diocese of Pittsburgh is the legacy at St. Gabe's campus, Mother of Mercy Academy. Now, want to jump into the show here. We've got 50 minutes to cover a whole lot of stuff. We start to talk about World Cup qualifying because, yes, we're just a couple days away. It's hard to believe. A month ago it was Gold Cup final. Before that it was Nations League final. June, July, August. Now we're here. This is the big time now. We'll talk about that in the second segment. El Salvador on the Thursday in San Salvador. Nashville at home on the weekend. On Sunday. Honduras, the day before my birthday in San Pedro Sula. That's always the tough one. But we'll get to that again in our second segment because I'd like to start out with the first segment, and we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. I was down at training last week on Wednesday, got a little quote from Bob Lilly, the manager, and if you saw our social media at Three Rivers Broadcasting on Twitter and on Instagram, we had that video posted, and it was a good little clip. He gave us some insights as to what he was thinking about coming into this weekend. Now, they had obviously thumped Atlanta too, which is an MLS reserve side. And he had said this in the post-game press conference, reiterated it to me again on Wednesday when I was down there to speak to him that, it's a little different when you play an MLS reserve side than when you play an independent franchise. These MLS reserve teams, they're using 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids who they're trying to prepare and vet to see who's going to make it to the senior team. They're trying to see who's going to crack through to MLS, and ideally even beyond. You look at what New York Red Bulls have done with their academy into USL team, to pro team, to overseas types of guys who have come through there. Tyler Adams was playing here in Pittsburgh just a couple of years ago. Now he's starting for Red Bull Leipzig in the U.S. national team in major matches and playing in the Champions League. So they look at this a little differently, whereas teams like Pittsburgh, who, first place team, Hartford, Tampa Bay, Miami, they look at this from a different perspective. They're bringing in more experienced players, older players, and it's about winning now this season and seeing who's going to earn the contract extension, as opposed to one of these MLS 2s where they've got 18 and 19-year-olds on 4-year deals, and it's about seeing who's there at the finish line at 2021, 22. So they'll play open and they'll surrender 5. But if it means one kid makes it through to Atlanta's senior team and they sell him for $5 million, it was worth giving up the 5. When you go play Hartford, it's going to be a little bit tighter match. Pittsburgh went there and there's no other way to say it. They stole the points. Smash and grab, stole the points. And sometimes it doesn't have to be pretty. All you have to do is be gritty and steal the points. And Pittsburgh at the weekend went and stole the points. I don't know if I want to say that it cancels out the Loudoun loss earlier in the year, but they stole points off of an independent franchise that Bob Lilly said we need to start beating. And they got at it right away. Cicerone, we've been talking about him for a while. He's having a career year. This is the type of guy who, after this year, could earn himself a look at an MLS team, could have some options in some smaller countries in Europe in first divisions, maybe, Scandinavian leagues, maybe a Finland or someone some team there takes a roll of the dice on a guy like this in his mid-20s on a hot season, or maybe he signs an extension here in Pittsburgh. You never know. But he's having a hot season. 15 seconds in, sends a through ball to Dixon, taken down by the goalkeeper. You got a penalty kick 20 seconds into the match. And unlike the last one where he missed the penalty kick, he got a goal after that, but Cicerone buries the penalty kick. Puts him in the lead. Tied up shortly thereafter. They got a second penalty kick, which they let Dixon take because it was, and justifiably so, because it was the second time in the first half that Dixon got taken down. They gave Cicerone the first one that he buried. Dixon got the ball for that one, missed the penalty kick. Keeper went the wrong way, but you just dragged the leg, and it was enough to keep it out. Hartford won a penalty kick. It was a bit odd. And went up 2-1. There was a free kick that was cleared. And play continues, right? So there's a free kick, and the attack is cleared away by Pittsburgh. Play continues. But the next dead ball, the referee comes back and gives a penalty for a foul that the linesman gave a shout for. It was all very bizarre, but they were down 2-1. A couple minutes later, Dixon levels it. That was his 7th of the season. And then, it looked like things were going to end even. It was a good, well-played match, but there was a late corner kick. Into stoppage time. Canardo Forbes sends the corner in. Cleared to the top of the box. Cicerone brings it down. Hits a nice shot to the bottom right. And they steal the points. His 13th goal of the season. He's now got 5 in 2 games. He has 13 goals this year. And I checked the stats before the game the other night. He had only scored 12 goals combined in his first 4 seasons as a pro. Talk about finding the right guy at the right time with the right gaffer. And it all comes together. He's now 2nd in USL in scoring. Having a fantastic, fantastic season. And Pittsburgh comes home on Wednesday night, at least right now. We'll see what this storm, tropical storm, hurricane, whatever is whipping around on Wednesday, if they play. We'll see. It depends on lightning, this, that. We'll see what happens. But tentatively scheduled, 4th and final meeting against New York Red Bulls 2. Pittsburgh's taken them all so far. It's the end of a road trip for Red Bulls 2. They play Sunday in Miami and then come up here to play Wednesday. So they went, and then now they're on their way up here. I'd imagine they didn't go home. They probably just came straight to Pittsburgh. But again, it's another one of those tricky matches against a MLS reserve side, especially when you've taken the first couple of them, and they'll play open. So it should be an entertaining match. I expect it to be a good game worth watching. And Red Bull went down 3-0 in Miami. There's no reason to think that the Riverhounds won't get the job done. Against Red Bulls 2. And complete the run on them. It's safe to say also that Russell Cicerone was the man of the match again. And this is the end of this brutal slog where they play a quarter of a season in a month, and they have come through pretty darn good. Still tied for first place, hit a little bit of a rough patch, came back with a draw and 2 wins. On paper, should claim the points on Wednesday. And then they'll have a trip to San Antonio on Saturday, September the 4th. That's a little bit later start for those who will be looking for the ESPN Plus broadcast. San Antonio is currently 4th in their division out west, but Pittsburgh's played a host more matches. The trip will be tough. It'll be a tricky way to end the month. And media, we get sent the kind of the schedule for the week, and it's jam packed. There's not a lot. There's really not a recovery day per se. It's just in and out and back on the plane, train in San Antonio. It's gonna be busy. So they've got to get through one more week like this, and then the run-in is back to once a week. And I think Bob Lilly will be very happy to have that, get his players some rest. He was very happy with seeing some players step up and also players hold up. And this was, you get it in our video off of our social media through broadcasting. Very happy to see some names step in and do a job for them over the course of the month. And after this, again, they should be able to get a little break, a week to get back on the regular training schedule, get a little bit healthy, heal some knocks. On Saturday the 11th, it's Loudoun United. That's a home game, 7 o'clock. It's also on the Point. But go on down to the stadium. It's going to be a nice night. Should also note that September the 11th this year, that's the 20th anniversary of the attack on the World Trade Center in D.C. I may or may not be here for that one. I may be home for that. There were a lot of folks from our church that didn't come home that day. And there's always a very large ceremony in my hometown in Middletown, New Jersey, on September the 11th. So we'll see if I'm going to be back or not for that one. I may be home that weekend. We'll see. But you should still go to the match and have a good time down there. After that, though, the Riverhounds get into, again, what Bob talked about as these independent teams, the teams they've struggled to win the head-to-head battles with, that they just claimed their first real good scalp again with Hartford on the road, some stolen points there. Then you go into this run-in. You don't have any more MLS 2s. There's no more Red Bull. There's no more Loudoun United to put a few past. These are going to be very difficult matches, including a tricky October where they go to Miami twice in October. on October 2nd and October 17th. Sandwiched in that is a Sunday night game against Tampa Bay. That could be for all the marbles. That's a ways away. It's a month and change away. There's only 3 games after that. The winner, it could come down to that day to see who wins the East. Because both teams have held serve with each other throughout the course of the season. And circle that one if you're a Riverhounds supporter. Sunday, October the 10th, against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. But again, after this, it's all these independents. Charlotte, twice against the pesky Charleston Battery side, who has some pretty decent players. The 2 away with Miami, sandwiched in there is Tampa Bay at home, a trip to Charlotte. And then they end with 2 at home. It's Charleston and Hartford on October 30th, their last match against Hartford Athletics. So the most favorable portion of it is that 3 of the last 4 are at home, but there's that tricky 2 out of 3 away to Miami. And we'll just keep breaking it down as we get closer, and we'll follow the results of Miami and of Tampa, as there's a lot of points that are going to be on the line in those matches. We're coming up on the midway point. I think we'll take a quick pause for the cause. And then we'll dive into the U.S. roster and preview the matches with Canada, El Salvador, and Honduras coming up here first week of September, 2nd, 5th, and 8th. But again, congratulations to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds on a very nice win. We're going to take, again, a quick pause for the cause. We're going to hear from the Guard Market. We'll bring them up right now, as well as Carnegie Iron Works, who are also sponsoring our Pittsburgh football power rankings. So let's bring them up real quick. Carnegie Iron Works. You can go on our Instagram and our Facebook, and you can find the Pittsburgh football power rankings. We're going to try to get that up on our website and through the Twitter as well here in the next few hours in this evening. But let's take that pause for the cause right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about the U.S. national team.
The Guard Market is a digital marketplace that provides customers with access to licensed security professionals on demand. Let's face it, you have a lot to do running your business, and security, well, that's our business. We take the hassle out of searching, vetting, and scheduling private security guards for your unique needs. Just tell us what you need, when you need it, and we'll handle the rest. Guard Market security service partners are carefully screened and thoroughly vetted to meet the demanding needs of our diverse client base. Using advanced technology, we match you with the most qualified service provider based upon your specific needs and geographic requirements. For more information, you can visit our website at www.theguardmarket.com and call Andrew at 732-266-9344 with your service requests today. The Guard Market, security on demand. Carnegie Iron Works is Pittsburgh's go-to for artistic, unique, and decorative steel and iron designs. We provide custom fencing, interior and exterior railings, outdoor fire pits, window coverings, and much more. If you can think of it, we can fabricate it. Find us on the web at www.carnegieiron.com. That's Carnegie Iron Works, for when you need it, for 500 years. Are you an athlete looking to take your game and performance to the next level? Gym Rat Performance Training is where Pittsburgh's elite competitors go to train. We specialize in personal training, strength, speed, and agility training, sports-specific training, and we offer the best basketball player development in the City of Champions. If you are ready to transform your body, expand your mind, and reach your potential, it's time to join the Rat Pack at gymratpt.com. That's GYMRATPT.com. GymRatPT.com. Gym Rat Performance Training, punishing Pittsburgh since 2016 because rats don't rest.
All right, welcome back here to the Corner Kick on Three Rivers Broadcasting. I'm Alex Fidryshevsky. I'm with you each and every Monday to talk soccer. Back here on Wednesdays to talk all things Pittsburgh sports on the Pittsburgh Sports Report with Coach Kurjovsky. We'll be here on Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. And then we start our high school football coverage this week. Maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, but we'll let you know for sure on Wednesday's Pittsburgh Sports Report. But again, Friday we definitely have Westinghouse against Kirtland, Ohio. Looking forward to that one down at Couple Stadium. And then we've also got the Friday Football Scoreboard Show coming your way live on Three Rivers Broadcasting and via all of our social media platforms coming up again Friday night. And that kicks off about 9:45, Coach K with the pre-show. And then at 10 o'clock, Jordan and I will sit down and run through all the stats and scores of the WPIAL, the City League, the Upper Ohio Valley, the Northern Panhandle of West Virginia, even down through Morgantown and Clarksburg and Fairmont. We're gonna bring all that in. We've got our rankings up as well, so make sure you check that out on our Facebook and our Instagram. You could go to our Twitter, and we've linked through to the Instagram there. We're going to try to get this all up on our Twitter as well this evening, and maybe even dabble with posting it up on our website. So we're looking forward to that. Make sure you check them out. If you agree, great. If you disagree, let us know about it. Also, you should note too, we put it out there. If you go look at our rankings for the football and you don't see certain schools ranked that probably should be ranked, it's because they didn't play week 0. We decided if you didn't play week 0, even if you're number 1 in our poll, you're not getting ranked because you didn't play yet. Win week 1, and then you'll go up to number 1. Prime example that I'm going to use, Clairton. Didn't play a week 0 game. They win this weekend. They'll be our number 1 in Class A. So, looking forward to another week of high school football getting started. We may be also doing Carrick-Madonna on Saturday. We'll let you know about that one for sure. May also be doing the Carrick-Weirton-Madonna game on Saturday here on Three Rivers Broadcasting. Really looking forward to it. Very excited about the start of high school football season. Of course, thanking our fine sponsor for our coverage, the Polish Falcons, upholding Polish values by promoting financial security, active lifestyles, and social well-being. They are the title sponsor of our Polka programming, as well as of the vast majority of our sports programming here at Three Rivers Broadcasting right now. So we'd like to thank the Polish Falcons for their support. We would also like to thank Mother of Mercy Academy, providing a fantastic faith-based Catholic education to the youth of the South Hills for over 70 years, a grand tradition of excellence in Catholic education. And I said it at the top of the show, everybody here, from myself down to Jordan and Elijah, we all went through Catholic school, and I think you can see it, that it's rubbed off on us the way we act. And yes, family plays a lot into that as well, but the foundation that you learn in Catholic school is second to none. I went all the way through, Elijah went through high school, and listen, so did Jordan and Andy. We all went to Catholic school, and we're definitely benefited from it. So please consider Mother of Mercy Academy if you are looking for an alternative to the public school system. Please consider, again, a fantastic faith-based education in the South Hills at Mother of Mercy Academy. Visit them online, motherofmercyacademy.org. The St. Gabriel campus in the Baldwin section of Pittsburgh. It's tucked away in a nice little quiet, safe residential neighborhood, nice school building, and Principal Don Millitzer, he runs a tight ship there, but they do help these kids grow. He's also a football coach up at Robert Morris, and we'd like to thank the Diocese of Pittsburgh for their support here of Three Rivers Broadcasting. Let's keep things moving along. I wanted to talk a little bit about the U.S. national team, who've had a very good year thus far. Their only blip has been a 2-1 loss to Switzerland in a closed-door friendly on May the 30th. They claimed the Nations League, then they claimed the Gold Cup, both victories over Mexico in fantastic fashion. Now we get serious. The fluff stuff is done. I know the Mexico games are always big, no matter whether it was the Gold Cup, quote-unquote, B team or the Nations League, quote-unquote, A team. We learned this summer that the U.S. has we're almost there to saying that you could have your A and your B. If not are there, because I think we have the A and the B groups. And the B group is damn good, too. They might be just as good. Maybe a touch off, but they're right there with the A group. Now it gets serious. We're into World Cup qualifying now. The United States failed to qualify for the last World Cup in embarrassing fashion, using overpaid, overhyped, Europe ship jumping MLS-based players who led the way. And folks will still say, well, Pulisic was on the field. The apologists, all of those wonderful MLS apologists out there, of which I am not. If you didn't notice, it's not on my top 10 list for best soccer leagues in the world. But we rolled in with Screamin' Josie. Everybody remembers when he was screaming into the microphone. Yeah. Walkin' Mikey. So zen that he walked to take a corner kick in the 90th minute of a game we needed a goal in. And Josie, if Josie was pissed off, Josie didn't show up. If Josie was in the right headspace and he was feeling pumped, Josie was the best player on the field, best attacker in CONCACAF. But too often we got walk-in Mikey. And it was okay. It's okay for me to say this because Alexi Lalas tore him to pieces after the game. We don't need you to be zen, buddy. We need you to have bite. Never really found it with Michael Bradley. There were glimpses here or there of brilliance and excellence, but the whole lot of them, and some will say it was Jurgen's fault, it was Bruce's fault, it was the Federation's fault, it was everybody shoulders a little bit of the blame. Jurgen messed a couple things up. Bruce didn't change a couple of things. The Federation had their hands into it, and I think that there were some claws from some in there that shouldn't have been in there either. And now that they've gotten rid of that disaster, at least, now you can pick the right roster. Now you can at least go and pick a real roster. You don't have to worry about bringing in designated players. Oh, yeah, need them. We saw in the last set of qualifying how much you actually needed Matt Beasler and Graham Zusi, who never pushed on out of Kansas City. The first two guys to get the fat cat contracts and never leave. It opened the door for the rest of them to come on home. Get the big bucks. They got paid. Good for them. But they got complacent. They got lazy. And it showed in games that they should have won by multiple goals. Like against Trinidad's B team. Or C team. It was probably the C team. And they failed to make the World Cup. So this go-around, there's a big load of pressure on the shoulders of the American players. It's safe to say that. And that if Berhalter bundles this, we've wasted a decade. And you've wasted the start of the golden generation. Because the crop we have right now sometimes only comes once in a lifetime, even in a country this big that soccer is exploding and taking over in. I mean, geez, when I was in Pineville, West Virginia, consulting for WWYO, there are kids down there wearing Manchester United jerseys in rural southern West Virginia. So you can't tell me soccer's not big in this country. When small Class A schools in Pennsylvania can no longer field football teams, but have 21-0 soccer teams. Hello, Sagertown. Here's looking at you with your successful program. Look at you overachievers out in that little farm town. Doing a great job of it, too. I support it. Go get them. The pressure is now coming from all communities. It's not just New York. New Jersey, that North Jersey soccer community, the Philly soccer community, that pocket east of Atlanta in Southern California, who are saying, hey, we got to make the World Cup. No. Now, Portage, Pennsylvania is telling you, you better make the World Cup because you got the talent. There's people who are going to be paying attention in Mullins, West Virginia, wearing their kit saying, we better make the World Cup. The culture's changed a little. Yes, football's still king in this country. Basketball's still big, huge. But this sport, there's pressure on the U.S. national team now from all over the country now. It's not just those big couple of markets anymore, or this soccer people. There is now enough presence where, specifically because of the internet and cable television and the availability of it now at such a large level, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to kids, that the parents have jumped on. There's an expectation. It all starts out on Thursday in San Salvador. And I think everyone is going to go in expecting the U.S. to go down there and take 3 points, especially because we've cobbled together a group in December and hung 6 on them. That was in Miami. But they expect them to go down and win because this is the group. There were maybe 1 or 2 players you could have argued in and out, but on the whole, I don't think I have one complaint outside of maybe Walker Zimmerman being in there, because it's just not an A-team guy for me. But you need, maybe you use him as a squad rotation player somewhere along the way and ask him to do the job. The goalkeepers, we know who our 3 now are. Stefan and Horvath were in there. Matt Turner is in the mix, and Matt Turner's pushing for number 2, in my opinion. I think Stefan is still the starter, but Horvath and Turner are now going to be in a battle for number 2. They're all 26 or 27. The U.S. is now set at goalkeeper for the next 10 years. If they could get Turner over, you could get all 3 of them in Europe. And Turner doesn't have the deficiencies on the crosses that Bill Hamid had, that they screwed that up with. I said in 2012, when Hamid broke onto the scene, this guy could be the starter for the U.S. national team if they get him abroad now. Watching him play on TV at Red Bull Arena, and said they got to move him. My father was sitting there in the stadium like, this guy, he's big, he's athletic, he commands the box, he can't judge crosses to save his life, and it's the one thing that's going to hold him back. Get him over there now. Get him in a good club who will work with him. He's 22. They'll give him 3, 4, 5 years as a backup to learn the ropes. DC didn't move him. The league didn't move him. They sent him over. It was too late. Nobody corrected the crosses. He couldn't play. He couldn't play over there. Because of one thing set him back. They didn't fix it. Turner doesn't have that deficiency. He can go over and join Horvath at Nottingham Forest. Stefan's at Manchester City. He could go jump into that pool and start and contribute. And then you got all 3 of your you could have all 3 of your goalkeepers overseas. But regardless, the U.S. is set. The U.S. is set at goalkeeper. You can send Brad Gazan out to pasture. Sean Johnson can go out to pasture. Bill Hamid, who again didn't get what he needed. And I've tweeted about this. It's funny. I think Hamid retweeted this. That was a couple of months ago where I put out, like, if MLS wasn't so stupid and short-sighted and money-hungry, they would have moved Hamid for $2 million 10 years ago when he was 21. He would have went to Belgium or wherever the hell it was. I forget who it was even at this point that was looking at him. He was a kid. They would have worked on him. They would have loaned him out for 3 seasons, and he would probably be the national team starter right now. But didn't happen. And there's another crop coming up around them that I think is equally talented. CJ Dos Santos is 21. He's involved in the Benfica system. Odunze is part of the Leicester system. Even a guy like JT Marcinkowski, 24 years old, playing for San Jose. We have a couple of guys who could play goalkeeper, but we know who the 3 are. I have no issue with the goalkeepers. Even the back line. Listen, Yedlin, Tim Ream is still solid. He might be the slowest guy on the pitch we have, but he's 33. He's been with Fulham for oh gosh, what, 10 years, 11 years at this point now he's been with Fulham? Let me go look here. Tim Ream, where are we? Tim Ream joined Fulham in 2015. Excuse me, he went to Bolton and then Fulham. It feels like Tim Ream went to Fulham right away and has been a starter in the Championship for the last 10 years, because he has. But he went to Bolton first. I forgot. He left the Red Bulls and went to Bolton. But just a solid guy. He's getting older. But that type of experience, especially in a road game that he's done before, he's the kind of guy who maybe you toss in San Pedro Sula because you need another defender who knows how to navigate the, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 200-degree, 100% humidity type environment where you don't sleep the night before because the fans are out there banging the drums and playing the whatever instruments they play outside the hotel. Because it's going to be a national holiday in Honduras the day before and the day of the game, because it always is. They did it against Canada a few years ago. It was originally scheduled by CONCACAF as a 7 o'clock game. They moved it to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which I always say, then I think we should make them play in Anchorage. We should build like the national team stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. And if it's a January qualifier, we should play them in Anchorage when it's 12 below zero. Like, you want to make us play when it's 115? Well, we'll just send you to, to Anchorage, Alaska, and now we'll freeze you out of the field. I'm all for that. People might say that's petty, but hey, if Honduras is going to do it to us, well, the least we could do is make them go to Minneapolis. I wonder where that game's going to be. It's February 2nd. They should make them go to Minneapolis. Because they're going to try to cook us out of the Metropolitano. The least we could do is put them on ice. make them play a hockey game. But again, I got no issue with anybody in the back. Brooks, Robinson, Dest. Miles Robinson has jumped into this top group. He played very, very well in the Gold Cup. James Sands has now jumped into this group. Played very, very well in the Gold Cup. I'm surprised George Bello is in there. From Atlanta United at 19. But he's hot. He's young. He's got a lot of speed. He's the kind of guy you can bring off the bench in Honduras or El Salvador. Or maybe even consider starting him if you have to. But the rest of the back line, I'm good with. I think, again, Zimmerman's the only one that I was kind of 50-50 on. I think, and I get it. You have to look at who your center back situation is. You have a couple of decent options. Mark McKenzie comes in from Genk. Would I have rather seen potentially Matt Miazga called in? Maybe. Or, a little more speed with a guy like Shaq Moore or Reggie Cannon. But, you got to consider who played the Gold Cup and who played the first tournament and how tired are the legs. Middle of the park. Listen, if Kellen Acosta plays the way he did against Mexico, Kellen Acosta should start. And at 26, Kellen Acosta should be in Europe. But what's held Kellen Acosta back is that he can't do it every game. He's in the squad. And if he holds up the form, great. If he can hold the form, he's a starter. Sebastian Leget's the best American in MLS. I'm confident to say that. Fine. He should be in the squad. Christian Roldan, another guy in the middle of the park who I think can get the job done. And, he's on a huge contract in Seattle. I've talked about this. I think Christian Roldan can go play at a very good club. I don't know if he's a Champions League type player, Champions League starter. He's a Europa League starter for sure. I think he could start on any team that's in the Europa League group stage right now. And then you get McKennie and Tyler Adams, two of the best young players we have. Up front, we're not hurting for attackers. I think we were hurting for attackers when we were trying to go to Zardes and some of these other guys, who are out there, they reaching for Tyler Boyd or, I don't know, Jordan Morris. I guess you could still say he could argue his way in, or Josie's only 31. I think we're past that type of player. Pulisic, Sargent, Weah's out. Reyna, Aronson, Sibachu, Conrad De La Fuente, and the big steal of the day was Ricardo Pepi from Dallas, who is on an unbelievable tear. 18 years old, 6'1", became the youngest player to score a hat trick in MLS on July the 24th. He just signed a 5-year contract extension with Dallas, which means you're gone in the next year or two, and we're setting you up for the move. He'll be gone, but he had the opportunity to also play for Mexico. He played for the U.S. U17s in the World Cup, and now he's with the U.S. senior team. And he's in. And you bet your bottom dollar that he's getting in one of these games. Because they're going to tie his butt down. There is no question about it. Ricardo Pepi is going to play one of these two games. They're getting him in one, somehow. Even if it's for 30 seconds, they're getting him in. Like I said, I mean, we're reaching a point of depth that I'm really happy with. El Salvador is coached by Hugo Perez, who played for the United States. He's starting to reach into a little bit of, who's an American of Salvadorian descent, or things like Eric Zavaleta now playing for them. Alex Roldan, who is Christian Roldan's brother, is now playing for El Salvador at the age of 25. Armando Moreno, who went through the Red Bulls Academy, is with them now. He's now down in the USL. So they've started putting these little feelers out there. Joshua Perez, he was a former U.S. youth setup player. He was at Fiorentina for a couple of years through their academy. He's down in the USL. So again, looking at their roster, I think they've brought in everybody they could bring in, and the U.S. should just take them and put them to the sword. I know it's a road game. The U.S. should take them apart. That should be a comfortable win. Maybe not 6 like they did in the friendly in December, but they should be able to get 2 or 3 and walk past them down there. The Canada game in Nashville is going to be a little trickier because Canada's coming on, and they've got the full squad this time. Milan Borjan will start in goal next week for Canada. Plays at Red Star Belgrade. They've brought in, I think, all their reinforcements that they can find in the back line. Daniil Henry's come back. Sam Atakubi's come back for this one. Scott Kennedy from Regensburg is in the squad. Middle of the park, it's very similar to who they had in the Gold Cup. Piet, Osorio, K, Eustachio from Paços de Ferreira, they gave Spurs a good run for their money. He played both games. David Wotherspoon is in there from St. Johnstone. And then their attackers. I mean, their attackers are fantastic. Just they're on the level of ours. Kyle Aaron, Junior Hoylett, Lucas Cavallini, Alphonso Davies might be one of the best players in North America right now. Jonathan David from Lille. Davies is at, obviously, Bayern Munich. And Tajon Buchanan, who just made the move. Got sold to Bruges. He's back at New England on loan to finish out the season. Then he'll go to Belgium. And I look at the Canadian roster. It's pretty darn good. You know, there might be 1 or 2 guys they could have called in that they didn't, but I think on the whole, they didn't miss anybody. You know, Scott Arfield might be, one of those guys who's not in the squad, or Derek Cornelius, who's playing in Greece. But on the whole, this is a solid team. Richie Larea, Kamal Miller, who's playing for Montreal. They've got some good players. They're going to give the U.S. a tough game. It should be very, very good. And then that trip to Honduras is going to be it's always a tough thing to do. Going down to Honduras and winning in San Pedro Sula. I think it's really just if you could go get a draw. You'd be happy and you go home. You go home if you could take a point, you come back and call it a day. They'll be without their best attacker, Albert Ellis. He got injured in I believe it was in the Gold Cup. They do still have some very good players. Anthony Lozano up top. Romel Kyoto is up top. But I don't know. I don't want to say they're not as intimidating as they once were. But maybe they're not. They're still very talented. In the Nations League semis, the U.S. only beat them 1-0 on a late goal. And it's going to, again, I think it's going to be a tough game down in Honduras. What's the ideal situation for the United States? 2 wins and a draw. 2 wins and a draw. Out of this 3, somehow you got to get 2 wins and a draw and come through it unscathed. The easiest path to that I could see is you beat El Salvador down there, which again, no easy task, but you beat El Salvador down there and you get as many goals as possible. Nick Canada at home and try to get that tough tie down in the tough point in San Pedro Sula. That's the way I see it. That's how you get 2 wins and a draw, the easiest way. Or you win those 2 away games and you somehow manage and you tie Canada at home. Because I'm not going to say that Canada's a gimme anymore, because Canada's not a gimme anymore. In the last 5 minutes, I want to touch on a couple of other things here. Cristiano Ronaldo back at Manchester United. Looked like he was going to go to Manchester City. And then Rio Ferdinand, Patrice Evra, Bruno Fernandes, Fergie, they all got involved. Everybody was shooting him text messages. What the hell are you doing? You can't go sign for them. And a few text messages and phone calls later, and he's back at the club that really turned him into a superstar. So Cristiano Ronaldo looking to be back a Manchester United player. Rejected Juventus and City and is back at Old Trafford. Big news. Messi's not at Barcelona anymore. Messi's at PSG. Ronaldo is now back at Manchester United. It's very interesting times that we're in. It'll be interesting to see who emerges as the next megastar. Because Neymar is great, but Neymar's not a megastar. Mbappe could be the next big megastar. I think people thought it could have been Pogba out of the midfield. He's got deficiencies. It could be Mbappe. He could be the next megastar. The quietest megastar that no one's talking about and the media won't talk about, and I don't know why for the life of me. Maybe it's because of where he is or where he's playing or where he's from, because it's not the Premier League, and I think they're going to screw him on the Ballon d'Or, and that's Robert Lewandowski. And maybe I'm biased because I'm Polish, but he's the best striker in the world right now. He just broke the Bundesliga goal-scoring record for a single season. The guy deserves a Ballon d'Or. They'll probably go give it to Messi or whatever again, but I don't even... Actually, to be quite honest with you, I could care less about the Ballon d'Or right now. Messi, Ronaldo. Why don't you reward somebody else? Yes, they're the best players in the world, but come on. There are other players having hot seasons that have affected their clubs in a bigger way than those two have because they've been surrounded by so much more talent. A guy like Lewandowski deserves it. They screwed him last year because they didn't even give the award out. Probably do it again this year. But I think he's one of the best players that nobody talks about. Champions League. Let's run that real quick. I mean, listen, it's the same damn teams every year. You know who's in the tournament. It's essentially it's the same teams. The tournament, like, I know, these are the best players. This is that. I'm bored of it. Honestly, I am getting bored of the frickin' Champions League. Okay, City, PSG, Leipzig, Bruges. City or PSG's winning the group. City or PSG's finishing second. Leipzig's probably going to finish third. Bruges is going to bring up the rear. Group B sounds interesting to me. Atleti, Liverpool, Porto, and Milan. That could be a little more wide open. Group C, Sporting, Dortmund, Ajax, Besiktas. I think they'll be very competitive games. Maybe that group excites me a little bit because it's a little more off the beaten path. Inter, Real, Shakhtar, Tiraspol. Come on. You know what's going to happen. And yes, I salivate over the idea that we're going to watch Bayern and Barca play twice in the group stage. Should be fantastic soccer. The quality will be excellent. I'm more interested in the Benfica Dynamo Kiev results to see who's going to go to the Europa League knockout stage. Again, maybe I'm crying over it too much, but it's the same teams. I don't care. I just don't care. They're great players. The matches will be fantastic. I have zero vested interest. I'll enjoy Chelsea, Juve. I'll enjoy watching Sevilla and Lille. I'll enjoy watching Atalanta United. These will be great games. Groups B and C, I really will watch. I will root in and watch Atleti, Liverpool, Porto, Milan, and I will root in and watch Sporting, Dortmund, Ajax, and Besiktas. There could be some real shootouts in there, and you could also get some real lockdown defensive games. Champions League, it's great players. I love watching the games. I don't care. Maybe, do I sound crazy saying that as we get towards the end of the show? I don't care about the Champions League. They're fun to watch, but I don't care. I'm more interested in the secondary and tertiary tournaments. It's teams we don't get to see that often playing against each other on the European stage. I think there's a 3 out of 4 in Group A in the Europa League. Lyon, Rangers, Sparta, Prague, and Brøndby. I think Group A sounds really interesting. I'm excited to watch Monaco, PSV, Sociedad. Sturm Graz is the fourth team in there. Napoli, Leicester, Spartak, and Legia Warsaw. I expect Legia to go bottom, 0 points, and get blasted in every game. Spartak Moscow is not that much better than them, but if you followed Polish soccer in Europe over the last 10 years, as far as the club teams are concerned, you understand why I'm saying that. But Napoli, Leicester, I mean, come on, this is going to be great. And listen, Spartak and Legia will play wide open against them. I don't think Legia will sit back. Legia has always gone wide open in Europe to try to showcase and sell their players. I'm going to watch every one of Legia's games. They could lose 5-0 to Leicester, and I'll be watching it. But the point of that's going to be to showcase the young Polish players, Hołownia, Wieteska, Nawrocki. Get to know some of these names. They're going to play a lot of them. I think that they're going to try to get 24-year-old Azerbaijani Mahir Emreli, who had a couple of goals in the game that got him in there, as much exposure as possible, just like they did with Nikolic and got a lot of money out of him from MLS. Group D. Group D in the Europa League sounds great to me, too. Olympiacos, Eintracht Frankfurt, Fenerbahce, Antwerp. You should be paying attention. Sam Vines plays for Antwerp, United States. Just got sold there. He's in the national team pool. Going to be great games in that group. I'm more interested because I think there's competitive balance in the Europa League. Lazio, Lokomotiv Moscow, Marseille, and Galatasaray in Group E. Come on. This is the meat right here. You know which two teams are probably making it out of the group in the Champions League. There's a lot of these groups in the Europa League are wide open. Braga, Red Star, Ludogorets, Midtjylland, not as strong, but wide open. There, you might say Braga's in Portugal, they should win the group. Not so fast. Not so fast. Not with Ludogorets and Red Star, who have really talented teams. Here's another great one for me. Bayer Leverkusen is in a group with Celtic, Real Betis, and Ferencváros from Hungary, who is on the rise. Watch out for them. They'll play again. Ferencváros is going to go into there. Man, they're going to go wide open. I don't expect them to sit back in a defensive shell. They have some very talented players. Henry Wingo plays for them. He's an American. He's not in the national team pool right now. He's 25, probably never will be. But he was with Seattle, went to Mold, and now he's playing for Ferencváros and seeing time in the Champions League qualifiers. So, something to pay attention to. Even, in the last group, I've run through them all in the Europa League. Zagreb, Genk, West Ham, Rapid Vienna. These groups in the Europa League are exciting. There's very talented players that we're going to see here. Yes, the Champions League is the elite of the elite. The fourth teams are worthless in that tournament. And yes, there has to be a qualification route to get these smaller nation teams opportunities. But when Zagreb messes up and Legia messes up and these other teams start losing to teams that they should beat, okay, now you end up with Sheriff Tiraspol having to go play Shakhtar and these other teams and probably cough up 5. They have a good young team, but maybe they'll surprise. But I'm more interested in the Europa League. I feel like I'm more interested in the Europa League every year at this point. And I know we're in extra time. We're in stoppage time here, as JJ and I used to call it when we would do it together. JJ, get on the show, man. I miss you. Napoli is in a group with a Polish team. We have to talk about this. It's important. We need you on the show. The resident Napoli expert. And we have to talk about Aston Villa if you're out there. Even this, and the talent level, there's a little bit more of a drop in talent, but there's this new league they've started, the Europa Conference League. I'm going to watch these games because I think they're going to be really entertaining. You know, again, the quality will be okay. It won't be great, but the quality will be okay, watchable. You know, flip coin type games that we've never seen before. And this is, I batted at it first, and I'm like, another stupid tournament. Who the hell are they going to find to play in this tournament? How are they going to set this up? These are teams that would have never made the group stage of the Europa League or the Champions League that are still good teams. And now you get groups like LASK, Linz, Maccabi Tel Aviv, HJK Helsinki, and Alashkert from Yerevan in Armenia. Yes. I can't tell you the last time an Armenian side made a European Cup competition, but Alashkert from Yerevan is playing. I will be watching their games. It's going to be very interesting. Group B, I'll just run through them because I always do this every year. I run through all the groups. And now there's a third tournament. Ghent, Partizan Belgrade, Anathosis Famagusta from Cyprus, and Flora Tallinn. Flora Tallinn is on the rise. This tiny little club from the former Soviet Union. The champions of Estonia, with only Estonian players, has crashed the European party because they've added another tournament. You know, Ghent should win the group. Partizan might knock them off, but what the hell? I'm going to watch these because I'm more interested in this. Okay, I've seen Messi versus Ronaldo 250 times. Like, great, let's watch it for a 251st time. Woohoo. Give me Roma against Zorya Luhansk in the Ukraine. Or Roma going to Cheska Sofia like they're going to have to do. And they'll play in front of 30,000 drunks in Sofia because everyone will be hammered before they go to the stadium. Because I can't tell you the last time Cheska Sofia has played a meaningful European competition. They are the team in Bulgaria as far as history goes. I can't tell you, again, the last time they made a group stage appearance in European competition. Huge, huge history. They may have made they made the group stage last year. That's right. They made the group stage last year, so I should take that back. Maybe Sofia will be a little more tame because they made the group stage. But why not? You know, I'm excited to watch these games. Alkmaar, Cluj, Jablonec in Group D. The best group to me is probably going to be Group E if you want to watch games in the Europa Conference League this year. Slavia Prague, Feyenoord, Union Berlin, and Maccabi Haifa. Should be some really high-quality games played there. Those are four really, really solid teams. Union Berlin finished 7th in the Bundesliga. They have some very good players. It should be a really good group to watch. Feyenoord, one of the top teams in the Eredivisie, usually stumbled a little bit last year. But again, they're a very talented team, some very good players, you know, in that group. I got to watch Slavia against Legia. They're pretty deep as well. There should be good games. You know, and even the group that Tottenham is in, and those will probably be on television here in the United States. Tottenham is with Vitesse and Rennes from France. So Vitesse from the Netherlands. The fourth team there is Murska Sobota from Slovenia. Murska Sobota. But Spurs may have to consider, and I think they will. It's almost like, I don't want to say the Espirito Santo didn't want them in the group stage, and that's why he played the B team against Paços de Ferreira in the first game and they lost, and maybe they felt like, oh geez, I guess we better actually play the starters and, you know, try to win this tie. But he's gonna have to use his starters, which may make him unhappy because now there's gonna be massive schedule congestion with League Cup, FA Cup, World Cup qualifying. Harry Kane, these guys are gonna have a lot of miles on their legs, and now they got this tournament to worry about. You have to wonder, is a guy like Nuno Espirito Santo sitting there going, why couldn't Paços have finished us off? Let them put the extra miles on. It's not going to matter to them. But those will be good games to watch. I think Rennes especially will give them a run for their money. It's worth watching. I'm more vested in it. Let's just leave it at that. I'm more vested in the Europa League and this Europa Conference League. Like the idea of watching Karabag Agdam play Kairat Almaty in this is the Group H. Basel from Switzerland and Omonia Nicosia from Cyprus is in there as well. Omonia Nicosia has Mixed Discarud. There's a name that we forgot, who started so well and then went the other way. Mixed Discarud playing for Omonia Nicosia in the group stage of the Europa Conference League, but I'm more interested in it. Karabakh and Kairat should be great. Slovan Bratislava playing the Lincoln Red Imps from Gibraltar. This is going to be more fun. Yes, the matches will be super high quality in the Champions League. Give me the Europa League and this third tournament any day. I was against the third tournament at the beginning. I'm not against it anymore. I'm not against the Europa Conference League. I've decided, after watching the qualifying rounds and all of this stuff, I am in favor of the JV tournament. It's not really the JV tournament, but I'm in favor of the third tournament. I want it. I like it now. I got to watch games with teams that I admit it. I had heard of them that you at home have never heard of before. Because I've probably heard of all of them. Soccer is the only sport that I actively pay attention to outside of high school basketball and football. You could ask me about the San Francisco 49ers, and I'll tell you that Steve Young was the quarterback. Jerry Rice played for them. And I don't know who the quarterback of the 49er is right now, and I don't care. There, I said it. I follow the Pittsburgh teams because we're here, and we got the sports report. And I guess you could say I'm a Steelers fan. I've always liked Steelers, and I've got Steelers stuff. I do. I've got Steelers stuff. I do. You haven't won me over to the Penguins yet, though. Grew up in Jersey, right outside of New York, whether it's Rangers, the Devils, the Islanders, the Flyers. I can't pull the trigger on the Penguins yet. Maybe Andy can help me do that, pull the trigger on the Penguins, and say that I like the Penguins. We'll try that on Wednesday. But that'll do it for the Corner Kick. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in this evening. Great show. Make sure you tune in. We've got Polka Drive at 5 tomorrow. I'll be live. Matt Simmons, No Filter at 6, our specialty program. Pittsburgh Sports Report coming your way on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Pittsburgh Riverhounds scheduled to play at 6, but make sure you follow their accounts and their website and all that in case that does change with the storms coming through. And what else we got going on this week? Some high school football as well. We'll just say some high school football. We know we're doing Kirtland and Westinghouse from Couple Stadium. We've got the Friday Football Scoreboard show as well. That starts around 9:45. The football game on Friday, the Westinghouse game, we go on the air at 6:45 here through Rivers Broadcasting. I'll be down at Couple Stadium. 9:45, approximately the start of the pre-show with Coach K for the Whip Around, where he'll review the top teams that we had this past week. He'll start giving you some information and talking about things related to high school football in our region. And then Jordan and I will go live at 10. Give us a little window to get back from couples and pull it together here. Go do a little hair and makeup, and we'll be ready to go. And yes, for the live TV style show, we have hair and makeup. We'll see how it goes, but there's hair and makeup that's going to happen. So I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Again, we'd like to thank our fine title sponsors here, Mother of Mercy Academy in the South Hills of Pittsburgh. Thank you for their support, the Diocese of Pittsburgh. The Guard Market, security professionals on demand. Visit them, theguardmarket.com. Gym Rat Performance Training, the region's premier basketball trainers, gymratpt.com. Carnegie Ironworks, visit them online, carnegieiron.com. Our partner for football here, Pennsylvania Football News, pafootballnews.com. Our man Billy Splain was out here this weekend, rocking it down at Woodland Hills, pafootballnews.com. Steel City Grease Traps, Mark Kuss for all of your restaurant services needs. If you are or know a restaurant owner in Allegheny County, you must have your grease trap serviced by a licensed provider. The days of putting it in a black bag, freezing it, and chucking it in the dumpster are over. And I think they have been in Allegheny County for a while. So do the right thing and abide by the codes and use Steel City Grease Traps. They are the finest grease trap company here in Western Pennsylvania. SteelCityGTSales@gmail.com. And finally, we would like to thank the Polish Falcons of America for their support upholding traditional Polish values by promoting financial security, active lifestyles, and social well-being. Visit them online, www.polishfalcons.org. That's www.polishfalcons.org. I'd like to thank you all once again for tuning in to Three Rivers Broadcasting's presentation of the Corner Kick. We will catch you next week. Actually, no, we won't catch you next week. I'm going to be playing in my polka band next week. Next Monday, I won't be here. There is no, and that's right, we're going to put Let's Polka up on the screen here, threeriversbroadcasting.com. I'm going to be playing with my polka band, the Steelworkers, that I'm a co-fo of. We're going to be back east, myself and Robbie Lawrence. We're going to be playing at the National Shrine of Our Lady of Częstochowa in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, for the big Polish-American festival there. Our band, the Steelworkers, we were just featured on Service Electric Cable TV in Allentown at Music Fest. We're going to be down there in Doylestown, bringing the full band down, so we're going to have a great time there on Labor Day. So I won't be here on Monday. There will be no Corner Kick next Monday. But again, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. God bless. Have a great night. And, hey, let's hope the U.S. pulls the points.